This is ESBR Boxing. I'm delighted to be joined by Niall, and as we are reacting to the news that SHAKUR Stevenson and GERVONTA Tank Davis are set for a unification clash on November 23rd in Las Vegas. Before we get into it, Niall, just customary for anyone watching here, if you're not a subscriber to the channel already, please do subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. And we've got you covered basically for all your boxing needs anyway. So why wouldn't you subscribe? We've got big fight breakdowns, reviews, um, previews, fight reactions, interviews with fighters, of course, and videos like this, jumping on and doing reactions to pressing news in the boxing world. Like I said, Niall, Gervonta Davis, SHAKUR Stevenson, arguably two of the best fighters in the division, in the world. I've seen a snap of them not so long ago, kind of smiling with each other after a fight. We've heard back and forth. It's kind of respectful back and forth for a while now. Fans putting the two against each other and seeing how the fight would play out for years, and we're finally here. It's been official. I think it's unofficially confirmed, but expect an official announcement within the next couple of days. What is your initial reaction now to the news?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's amazing to see. I think excitement for me is the main feeling. When the news broke last night that they were kind of finalising talks, and it's just pure excitement. You said it best. The two best fighters at 135. Of course, there's still Lomachenko there, but for me, they're the two best in the division. And there's an argument to say that it's possibly the best fight that could be made in boxing at the minute, to be honest with you. Tank and Shakur, like we've seen Crawford Spence now, we've seen Usyk Fury. Now it's just these sort of fights. You've got your Beterbiev, Bivol, but also this has to be right up there at near the top of the list. It's just amazing, and it's great that we're getting these big fights made now. We're moving out of the kind of days of politic and waiting each other out. It's amazing to see. It really is, and not only that, it's a fascinating clash of styles too. It's the bull against the matador, so that'll be really intriguing. But yeah, I can't wait. I suppose boxing fans were kind of being accustomed to have it ingrained into us that almost how would I say it? I won't believe it till they're in the ring together. I won't believe it till they're facing off. But yeah, I'm buzzing for this one. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, obviously both are big names. Especially Tank. I think that's fair to say. There's maybe been a few critics of Shakur's fighting style of late, and maybe not as explosive. Sorry, there's no maybe about it. There's no question about it. Actually, he's definitely not as explosive as Tank is. But then you look at Tank and you think, Tank Tank could be 11 rounds down, and you still think, part of you might still think that he's going to pull it out of the bag. He's just that type of fighter. He's proved it a few times. Obviously, stopping the likes of, well, Ryan Garcia, Frank Martin, last time out. So yeah, I mean, I'm really really excited for this one. As you said, mate. But yeah, I kind of suppose it's the elephant in the room in boxing. Sometimes, a fight gets confirmed, but will we actually see it? How many weeks out from the fight will it be when one of them pulls out or the fight gets postponed or whatever? Fingers crossed that doesn't happen, mate, because as you mentioned, intriguing clash of styles, Bull versus Matador, as you mentioned, as well as, yeah. Do you know what? I kind of echo your sentiments, mate. It is right now. I probably couldn't think of. I could maybe list a few, but it's right up there. And if you said to me, give your 3 or 5 dream fights right now in boxing, it's definitely one of them. Gervonta Davis and SHAKUR Stevenson. So yeah, absolutely buzzing that we're getting it for the end of the year, and fingers crossed, as I mentioned, there's no postponements or further delays or anything. And that fight definitely goes ahead. Next thing I kind of want to ask you, Niall, is obviously how the fight plays out. I know a few of the boys on the channel are big Tank Davis fans in the ring. SHAKUR, the fluid boxer, probably the more skillful of the two fighters if you're going on that boxing IQ and an actual skill set. But it's an intriguing clash of styles, as you mentioned. Fair, a lot of people will be going either way, so it's an old classic 50-50. But what way are you kind of leaning and why?
Yeah, the styles clash is amazing, and as you said, it's hard not to be a fan of Tank Davis in the ring. Anyway, that style, that bullish, just aggression, speed, power, spitefulness, the kind of the criticism that Shakur Stevenson has got. Okay, you can say it's fairly justified, but you can't knock the talent. He's a supreme talent as a boxer. For me, I'm gonna go Shakur Stevenson on this one. A not fairly wide points win for Shakur Stevenson. I just think he's too elusive. He's too slick. He's too fast. He doesn't have really the power to kind of put a dent in Tank Davis. That's the only caveat for me because, as you mentioned earlier, you hit the nail on the head in saying Tank Davis could be 11 rounds down in this, and I think he will get widely outboxed. But with that power, there's always a chance. And what impresses me most with Tank is when he is getting outboxed, he doesn't get flustered. He doesn't kind of lose his focus. He knows himself. I have the power to kind of get you out of there, no matter how many rounds down I am. But he's never faced anyone like Shakur Stevenson, boxing wise. You could say the same, Shakur Stevenson has never faced anyone with the power of Tank Davis, and he's never had his chin checked. To see how he takes a big shot, and there's no bigger shot on 135 than Tank Davis. So, but no, I just think Shakur Stevenson for me is future pound for pound number one, in my opinion. That might be a bold shout, but yeah, I'm going for a Stevenson points win here.
Very interesting, mate. I think there's a few things you mentioned there, and one that really resonates. I think, the composure and guise of Tank Davis, as you mentioned, he just does not get flustered. He probably knows himself. I'm going to lose a few rounds here and there. Probably going to be. There might even be times where there's definitely been times in the past where he has been down on the cards and maybe pulled the knockout out of the bag. But it's like it's one of those. It's not like he's losing the fight. Everyone's going, "Oh, Tank Davis is going to get beat." You'd still expecting him to win.
Yeah,
It's one of them. I think, and that just shows that's kind of testing him, testament to how good he is, and his how elite he is, especially at 135, and even before that down in the lower weights. I am going to agree with you now. I've been a big fan of Shakur Stevenson's boxing style, fluidity, just the way he moves. He is a slickster, he's fast as well. I think despite coming through the weights as well, I think he's a little bit of a bigger man than Gervonta Davis as well. He used the height and reach advantage. I think he will maybe get clipped the odd time, which is going to happen. You're in a fight, let's be honest. No matter how elusive and how good you are, you're going to get clipped. But I don't know. For me, I can't foresee Tank landing one of his killer shots, and that we've seen him fold fighters with in the past, on someone as good and as slick as Shakur Stevenson. What you did say though, and it wouldn't put it this way. I'm going Shakur and you're going Shakur, but equally, I'm probably speaking on behalf of both of us here. It wouldn't surprise us if Shakur was up and Gervonta Davis did land the knockout
yeah,
shot and did win via stoppage. I think that's fair to say as well. But yeah,
absolutely,
mate,
yeah.
I'm going Shakur fairly wide points as well. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think he's the best fighter in the division, and your choice of future pound for pound number one. And I understand the criticism and all Shakur gets, and he's not a ticket seller because he doesn't perhaps wow fans as much as someone like Tank does. But when you're beating guys like Tank, when you maybe win this and you go and beat someone else and you move up and do this, clear out another weight division, that cannot be ignored. No matter whether people think it's maybe boring or whatever, he can definitely climb to pound for pound number one for me. But yeah, for me, mate, I completely concur with everything you said there. Shakur Stevenson, fairly convincingly, fairly convincingly on points. Just one more thing, mate, before we finish up here. Do you believe that the winner of this fight is the single best 135-pound fighter in the world, or would you still foresee, someone like Lomachenko, for example, being able to maybe navigate a likes of Shakur Stevenson or Tank Davis?
It's a good question. Yeah, I think the winner of this would have to be considered the best at 135. People think already that, well, most people think already that these two are the best in the division, and I love Lomachenko. But to have these two facing off to prove who really is the top dog, I think it'd have to be. I suppose it's a question for another day. Who out of the two of them does Lomachenko beat? Probably, nearer his prime. He beats one, if not both of them. He was that good. I love Vasily Lomachenko, I really do. But yeah, a win like this for either man would be, wow, an absolute statement, and would rightfully cement their place at the top of the pile for me, definitely.
Absolutely, mate. November 23rd, Las Vegas, Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, world title unification, of course. Definitely tune in. I can't wait for that one. Guys, as always, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you could subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop us a comment, let us know your thoughts on the fight, all of the above. And all that's left for me to say is, Niall, thanks very much for joining me, mate. I'll speak to you again soon.
Cheers, take care.